What's up guys, Qehzy or Noah here bringing you guys another tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create an animated overlay, or a camera overlay I suppose, like the ones I'm in right now. And you can see there's three different styles, not really styles, but there's three different effects I'm going to be showing you. The one to the left is like a simple shine thing. The one in the middle is a little more complex with some glowing light flickering going on with the Saber plugin. And then the one to the right is just a basic frame animation with some logo effects. But I'm going to be showing you how to create the Facecam, and then we're going to be going into After Effects and animating it. I'm going to show you just a few different styles like this to animate it. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're in Photoshop, and you can see we have the overlay, or the camera overlay outline here. I'm going to be showing you how to make this real quick. It's a fairly simple layout, and you can see we split it into 5 different parts here and saved it like this, and that's going to be an important step. Also, I want to make a quick mention that the After Effects file for this project will be available at 100 likes. So if we can reach that goal, that'd be great, and you guys can get the free download. If you really want the download and this video hasn't hit 100 likes yet, you can go to my Patreon and download it immediately if you become a $5 patron. You can also get a ton of other rewards, such as videos early, you get things from my store. If I make something, I might post it there, and a bunch of other goods and shoutouts in like my videos, which you're seeing now. Also, a big thank you to those who already support me over there, as this channel isn't monetized, so any support there and also in my store is greatly appreciated. But anyways, let's go back to designing this Facecam. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new file and show you guys just how I went about doing this. I'm going to create a 1920 by 1080p file here. I'm going to double click the background to unlock it, and then press Command J to duplicate. I'm going to press Command I to inverse it, Command T to transform, and then we're going to bring down the size of this. And I'm going to kind of use this as my face. Now my Facecam is actually a little more square, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. But you would want to use a reference for whatever Facecam size you're doing, and to find the appropriate size for it. This is just like a guess on my part, but we're going to go with it. So we're using this white square as a reference. Let's go ahead and get the rectangle tool, and I'm going to go to my default colors real fast, and I'm actually going to select one of these colors from my library, and that should be selected over here now, and that color is 0C0728 if you want to copy it. And I'm going to outline this white box. The white box, I'm going to say, is the camera where I would be, or whoever is using the Facecam. Create that nice outline border. We can go ahead and hide the background if we want. I'm going to actually go ahead and make it just a gray so you guys can see things, because I know the transparent background is a bit hard to see when we're when this is finished recording and it goes to YouTube. Some things are just harder to see, so hopefully this makes it a little easier. Now we have this outlined rectangle. I'm going to press Command, click on the white, and then on the rectangle I'm going to click the layer mask. And you'll notice it hides that edge, and it makes it only visible where the white is. But if we press Command I on that, it now only makes it visible around the border. So now we have our border set up. Alright, let's go ahead and double click on this now to mess with some of the layer styles. I'm going to go to Inner Glow, and I'm going to bump this all the way up for right now. Increase the size, and hold on, I'm going to actually click OK and zoom in a bit, just so I can see this a little better. I'm going to set it to normal for now, and I'm going to set the size to 4. Okay, now I can see we have the nice glow going. Now I'm going to set it back to overlay, and it should have a nice glow going around the edges. It's a little difficult to see right now, but we'll be able to see a little better in a second. And then we're going to create a new layer. Press Alt and click on that layer to make it a clipping mask. We're going to get the brush tool, and we're going to get a soft brush, and get white or black first. I'll go white, and we're gonna go across here and then maybe here in the corner. We're gonna set that to overlay and decrease the opacity just a little bit. Create a new layer, do the same thing, alt click on it, and then go ahead and get black and go into some different areas where the white isn't and set that to overlay and decrease the opacity of that a little more. This is going to be a subtler effect that you won't see as much as the white. But you can see we now have a border with some different tones going on there. And if we take that, select it all, group it. Alright, we're going to go ahead and duplicate that group. And I always bring the copy below because I like to, but you don't have to do that. But on the bottom one, we're going to open that up. Go to the rectangle, press Command T to transform, press Alt, and increase the size a little bit. So now we have like a double border going on. You don't want to go too far so the gray shows, but just enough so we have about 2 borders. And you can make the outside a little thinner if you'd like. And then on the white and black overlays, you can just move these around. So they're in different areas and not the same one. Now we're going to go ahead and use our pen tool to erase some of the areas of that second border to create a nice effect. Make sure this is no longer a shape layer, so you can see it's still a shape layer. I'm going to right click on the layer and just rasterize layer, and that way we can use the pen tool without overriding the shape. And I'm going to click the layer mask and go ahead and kind of cut out some of this. So I like to work 1/2 at a time. So let's go ahead and work on the bottom left first, or the left half. So I'm thinking like right here, and then holding shift going up to create a 45-degree cut there, and going to the top maybe, and having a cut here at the top. Maybe have that a little inward. Like something like that, I think. And then if we're on the layer mask and I right click, fill path, fill it with black, okay, it will get rid of that path. So if I hit Command T and move this over to the other side, right click, flip horizontal, and set it up the same way, and then right click, fill path, black again, and then right click, delete path. Now we have a nice border shape going on here. We have this one at the bottom and this one at the top. I'm gonna zoom out here, so I'm gonna hit Command 0 to zoom all the way out. I'm gonna go ahead and click the background layer and get my ruler. So Command R to get your rulers up if they're not. And I'm gonna bring this to the middle until it clicks right there. And then on the rectangle we're working with, I'm gonna press Command T and make sure that's centered. It is. Great. I'm going to zoom in here and I'm going to cut out a piece of this bottom part. So I'm going to click the layer mask again, and I'm just going to start from the middle bit here and create a nice sharp line, or a vertical line, so we can copy and paste this over then and it'll be even. But I'm going to hold shift and go over slightly. And then I'm going to go and hold shift again and click down here somewhere. And I'm going to go ahead and close that. Now, if you want to bring that over more, you can press Command, click and drag and select both of these points. And then if you press Command and click and shift and drag over, you can mess with where that goes. So I'm going to go about here, I think. And I'm going to right click, fill path, black, and then I'm going to Command click off and then Command T, and it will give me that path to transform. Right click, flip horizontal, drag it over, and I'll make sure the left aligns with the middle. Right click, fill path, black, right click, delete path, Command H to hide, and there we go, we have a nice shape going on here. The last thing I did then was I added a bit at the top for like space for my name. So you can do that a few ways. I'm just going to go ahead and pen tool it. So I'm going to go to the bottom, create a new layer, and I'm going to click somewhere here, hold shift, go up, hold shift, go to the side, or go to the middle, go down, not that far, and then close it. So we have like half of it here, and I'm going to right click, fill path, color, and I don't have that purple saved right now. I told you it earlier, but I'm just going to click OK, and fill it with this teal or whatever. Then I'm going to go ahead and get my purple, double click on it, Command C to copy, double click on the layer, set it to normal, opacity 100, put that color there, OK, right click, rasterize layer style, cool. And then I'm going to press Command J to duplicate, Command T to transform, right click, flip horizontal, bring that over, and I'm going to select both of those layers, Command H to bring that guide back up, Command T to transform, and let's line this up in the center, like so. Very cool. And then I'm going to press Command E to merge that into one. I'm going to open up one of these groups and just right click, copy the layer style, paste it into that so we have that same inner glow. And then we can create a new layer and alt click on it, get the soft brush again, and I'm just going to get white and go to the top like so, and set that to overlay. And there is our frame. You could obviously do more with it or less or do whatever you want. That's just how I went about creating my frame. Now I'm going to add the blue accents. So I'm going to just go ahead and click my blue over here to add it to my panel. And I'm going to go to the very top and create a new layer. Also going to go to my brush tool and get a hard brush and make the size 3. I believe I used the size 3 brush. And you could do this a few ways. You could either just use the brush tool and add your shapes in. So if you wanted a line here, you go click, hold shift, go across and add it in. That's actually pretty solid. I'm going to keep that. Or you can go ahead and create a new layer, get the pen tool, and maybe you're trying to do this corner. So if you just grab the pen tool, you can go ahead and click, hold shift, and then hold shift again and maybe go down like that. And then you can right click, stroke path, brush, click OK, and it'll give you that brush. And you can right click, delete that. And I'm actually going to use that one. I'm going to bring that below everything actually though, and then use my arrow keys to kind of align it on the edge, something like that. And then I'm going to duplicate that with Command J, Command T, right click, flip horizontal, hit enter, and then go ahead and line it on the other side. I'm going to duplicate this big one at the top and drag that one below as well, and bring that down here to go in between this gap. I'm going to go back to the top and create another new layer. And if we grab the brush again, we can create a couple like dot points. So say I want another line on the side. So I go here, hold shift, go down, and then go ahead and click once. Actually, let's create a new layer. Click once and zoom out to see how big that is. It's a little small. I'm going to duplicate it one more time and merge those, duplicate it, and then bring it down one more time. And I'm going to select both of those and bump them to the right slightly. Actually, maybe they are aligned. That's pretty good. And then let's select all of those, duplicate them, bring it over to the other side then. Cool. And then I'm going to duplicate one of those dots, bring it down to the bottom part here. And I'm going to duplicate this a couple more times. And if you want to evenly space them, so I have like 3 in a row there, if I select those 3, go to layer, distribute, horizontal centers, it'll evenly distribute them. And I'm going to bring this to align it with that slant, I'm going to press Command E to just merge those all into one, Command J to duplicate it, and bring it over to the other side then, and do the same. Now obviously I didn't name any of my layers, so this is pretty chaotic right now. So you might want to name them as you go. And then the last thing you can do is create another new layer and then maybe bump the size up of the brush and create like a bigger one. So this brush size is 9, maybe just create a little dash like that. Command J to duplicate it, bring it over to the other side. And you could add like that one around. If I duplicate it again, I actually brought it up to the top one here, like that. And that. So there we go, there is the frame. Now I'm gonna group everything real quick before we add the logos. So I'm gonna put everything that is blue on top of the frame together. So I believe this is everything here. Yep. And then everything blue below, which is everything here. And then all of the frame bits, which is here. So this should be blue top, this is the frame, and this is behind the frame. Perfect. And then I'm gonna go ahead and delete that top layer for now. I'm going to create a new layer and get some text. We're actually going to get this pink and the pink hex code. I forgot to give you the blue hex code, but I'll put it on screen when I use that. The pink is B73EF3. Click OK, and I'm actually going to flip to the other color and make that one white. Make sure text is centered, cool, and bring up the guide. And click in the middle there, and I'm going to make this say Noah Qehzy. Command T, and I'm going to click that top anchor point and just increase the size. There we go. Command H to hide for now. And I'm using the font Baron New. I originally actually used black italic, I believe. Or maybe just normal italic or bold italic, maybe. I'll do that. And then if you just duplicate this, and if we flip to pink, maybe we just click the pink to add. There we go. You can double click and change the color there as well. If we bring that pink below, and then using the arrow keys, just knock it down a couple spots like that. And then you can do the same thing with your logo. I'm just going to duplicate it and add that color as a color overlay, normal 100%. Bring it down, knock it down a couple times, and boom, there we go. So we finished with the Photoshop part. Now you might want to save this as a Photoshop document somewhere so you can come back and edit it. But we're going to go ahead and merge all the parts together that we want to keep together and save it as a Photoshop file. So what I mean by that is we're going to go to the logo. So there's 2 layers to the logo. Select them both, Command E and merge. Same with the text, Command E and merge. And then merge all the groups. And then go ahead and name them. So I'm going to call the blue at the bottom, blue bottom. The main frame, I'm going to just call main. The blue on top, I'm going to call blue. And then I'll just leave Noah Qehzy and Noah logo alone because you get the idea. Delete the background. And then one thing I didn't do before, but I'm going to do now, is crop this down so it's the appropriate size. So I'm going to get the crop tool here and bring this down to about there. I don't want to crop it all the way down to the frame, but I want to leave a little space like so. And actually it'd probably be better if we went back and then if you held Alt while doing this, so it's even on both sides, and then the same with the top. And then press enter, and there we go. Now if we go ahead and save this to your desktop or whatever, desktop tut overlay, save that, Now we can go ahead and hop into After Effects. Okay guys, so now we're in After Effects, so we're just going to go ahead and create a new project and then create a new composition. I'm going to keep my name as default cop 1, width 1920 by 1080 height, 29 frame rate, and then my duration is 15 seconds. You could adjust this to whatever you'd like. Obviously for tutorial's sake, it doesn't have to be too long, but if you were actually using a cam that would loop and you had some special animation happening, every 15 seconds might be too frequent. You might want to do that back to like a minute, but it's up to you. Feel free to choose whatever you'd like. In the background black. Go ahead to File, Import File, and we're going to go ahead and select that PSD we saved. And then merge layer styles into footage, that's fine. Click OK, open up the group, and you'll see you have each layer that we saved in that PSD, and we can just drag those in. They will be out of order probably, so you're just going to have to move it around. So that's the bottom one, that's one of the top ones, that's one of the top ones, and then, yep, that's the right order. And I'm going to be going ahead and showing you multiple effects. Now, one quick thing right here is the transparent toggle. So if you click that, you'll be able to see the transparency. And then I'll talk to you later about rendering out transparent, but for tutorial sake, so you can see everything a little easier, I'm going to have my transparency hidden, so it's just a black background. The first effect I'm going to show you is one that I used on all three of the cams I showed you guys at the beginning, and that's just a glow. And that glow is going to go on the blue layers. So we have the blue bottom and then the normal blue. So I'm going to drag this on the normal blue at first, and you can see it glows really nicely. Now, I did not stick with the default settings, I altered mine slightly. You can of course go in and play around with the settings as much as you want. I'll show you my settings real fast. The threshold, I went with 50. My glow radius was about 4, which is pretty toned down. And then the glow intensity was just 1. Everything else I believe was the same. Yeah, I don't think I changed anything else. So it's just a subtler glow. You could obviously increase it. And you could also do this thing where, say I click the stopwatch to make a keyframe for the glow radius, bump it up to 1 second, and then go a little high, then 2 seconds, bump it back down to 4. And that creates like it glows pretty bright and then tones back down. That's an animation that I wasn't intending on showing you, but that's something you could do with like the glow. But anyways, I'm just gonna go ahead and Command Z that away. And once you get those glow settings how you want, press Command C, go to our other blue overlay and Command V. Everything that's blue in our Facecam is now glowing. The next effect I'm going to show you is quite a simple one. It is the light sweep. So I'm going to go over to my search and type sweep, and it's under generate CC light sweep, and I'm going to add that to the main layer, and you'll see this light come up. Now the animation, we can either have it swipe from the left to the right or from the right to the left. If you go up here to where it says center and mess with the X axis, you can see it like go across there. Originally I had it go from the right to the left, so this time I'll mix it up and go from left to the right. So bring it all the way over to the left until you can't see it on your overlay at all. Press the stopwatch, and actually I'm going to unpress that, and I'm going to move this forward a little bit just so it happens later on. It's not immediate. But so I'll go to 3 seconds, then I'll click the stopwatch, and we'll say this is about a second, so I'll go to 4 seconds-ish, and then I will move that X-axis all the way to the other side until you can't see it. And then if I give that a quick play, you can see it shoot across the screen. You can come into that main layer then, open up Effects, CC Light Sweep, and then if you select both these keyframes, right click Keyframe Assistant, and you can easy ease it. I know a lot of people like the easy ease look, and if you open up the graph editor, you can go ahead and tweak that to speed it up at the beginning or end. So that's like a quicker at the front, and then it's kind of tails out a little longer. So you could do something like that. You could do that to all the animations, but that's the only time I'm going to show it to you, just so you know it's an option. Also, on that effect, instead of having the white light, which is pretty standard, you could choose like a different color. So in this instance, you could go ahead with like the pink we used on the text, and then maybe instead of add, you set that to composite. So then it blends in a little more with the face cam, and it's like a proper color. And then you could do that, multiple times with different colors. So you do it from 3 to 4 seconds, and say this was a minute long instead of 15 seconds, you could do it 3 seconds in, and then like 43 seconds in or something, or 33 seconds in, whatever. So like every 30 seconds you have a swipe, and maybe you mix up between 2 colors. You could do something like that. Obviously there's a lot of creativity to be had yet. So that's all that was done to the first one. Now I'm going to go ahead and create a new composition, same settings, just comp 2, and I'm going to actually copy everything from comp 1 over to comp 2, and then on the main layer I'm just going to go ahead and delete the swipe, the light swipe. Now I'm going to come here and I'm going to go to the blue layer and create a new solid layer above it. That's a solid black. So only the text stuff is above it. And we're going to use one of my favorite plugins, and some of my best videos actually involve this plugin, the Saber plugin, under Effect Video Copilot Saber. And you get this nice light streak going on here. And this is what we're going to be using for the next part. I'm actually going to drag that, actually no, we can leave that up for now and maybe just set this to lighten. Set 2 in the way, hey, it'll be fine. I'm going to go ahead and set that to lighten, and then I'm going to get the pen tool so we can create some masks, and we are going to mask over all the blue parts of the face cam. So I'm just using my scroll wheel to zoom there, and then I'm using the spacebar to click and move around. And if I come while on this layer and click here, maybe go up and follow it, you can see nothing's happening now. But if we go to customize core, instead of core type Saber, we do layer masks. You can see it follows that layer mask. And if you command click off, you can then go to the next one, click, hold shift, go across, click off, space and move over and on to the next one. And you just want to go ahead and do that for all of the blue areas. Be sure to command click off once you have a point, or else it'll just all stay connected in one. Okay, there we go. Now you notice I did the dot areas too. I'm actually not sure if that's visible or not. I just know I did it last time, so I did it again. But as you can see, we have everything glowing that was glowing before with our Saber plugin. Obviously these settings don't look real good right now, so we're gonna come into the Saber plugin and mess with some of the presets. So first of all, preset look, I went with Energize, but there are a lot of good looking options, such as Arc Reactor is a pretty sweet one, and there's just a bunch. You can go ahead and mess around with it, but I'm gonna go with Energize. Now you're gonna have to mess with some of the settings because this is like a little too crazy. So one thing I did was disabled the glow. I didn't want that enabled. I just want the electric looking effect. The color I went with was just simply the color of our blue, so I just used the eyedropper tool. And you could undo the glow and then select that color with the eyedropper tool. It's up to you. And then one important thing to do is to go to flicker and flicker speed, lower that, or else it's like really fast and it's kind of obnoxious for long periods of time. And even this will probably be obnoxious because it's going to be a lot of movement. But if we give this like a quick little preview, so this is 1 second. That's pretty good pace. You could slow that down even more if you'd want. And then the other thing is I don't want it to move so much on like away from the line. So I'm going to come to distortion, core distortion, distortion amount, and just knock that down. Maybe 3 is a little low, maybe like 5-ish. Alright, one thing you might notice is when we check the transparency thing, it is no longer transparent. So if you want this to be transparent, which I'm sure you do, come down to the main, Command C, Command V to duplicate it, drag it above the black solid. On the black solid, then go to Trick Matte and go to Alpha Matte. If you don't have the Trick Matte option, go down to Toggle Switches and click it to get it. And you could also duplicate that black solid and then duplicate maybe, so this bottom one is not visible since there's no background behind it. So if I go to the blue bottom, duplicate that and do the same thing to the duplicated one, then we get it on there as well. You notice the bottom is still a little funky. In my original, this blue line was closer to the top, so it looked a lot better. There's a bit of a space between this blue line and the main frame, which kind of creates that odd look, but it's good enough for tutorial sake. Alright, the next thing we want to do is add a hue and saturation because we want to create this like rainbow effect to change the colors of the glow. So we're going to go ahead and create a new layer that's an adjustment layer, and we're going to add a hue and saturation. So drag that onto the adjustment layer. Find a spot where you want the effect to happen. I did it between like 5 and 6 seconds maybe, or 6 or 7. I'll do 5 this time, and I'm going to go to channel range, click the stopwatch, go to 6 seconds, and actually I'm going to hit Command Z real fast, and I'm going to actually change the channel control from master to cyan because that is the color I want to change. I don't want to change the whole frame, just the blue part, and then I'm going to click the stopwatch, and then on 6 seconds I'm going to change this +0 to 360. Or you could change that left one to 1 for 1 rotation. And you'll notice if we go forward here, boom, it starts changing the color of the glow. And it should go around to every hue. I'm trying to go slow so it loads them all in. Yeah, so you get like a cool rainbow effect. And that's just a really simple way to do it, to incorporate other colors. Of course, you can mess with some of the other settings on that too to create whatever look you'd want, but I just did that to keep it simple. One last thing I did was to the text and the logo, and it was during the same time as this rainbow effect took place because I was inspired by that SpongeBob rave scene where like the jellyfish dance all cool, and I used the wave warp distort, add that to the logo. And what we're going to do is at 5, we are going to click the stopwatch of wave height, change it to 0. And then halfway between 5 and 6, go ahead and bump that to 10 or whatever setting you'd want. 10 is the default, so I'm just going to roll with it. And then go to 6, set it back to 0. So then, if I just render this quick section for you guys, we get this sweet rave looking effect, and then I'm just going to go ahead and copy that wave warp to the text as well, and there you go, there's like the SpongeBob rave look, which I think is pretty neat. Now we're going to go ahead and create another new composition. I'm going to show you the third one. I'm going to go back to comp 1 and copy all that over, and again I'm going to go to main and delete the light sweep and keep the glows. This one is going to be a very simple one, so we're going to go search up find edges and drag that to main. Now we want to invert it, and we want to go, we'll again go to about 5 seconds, and we want to bump this up to 100% and click the stopwatch. And then again, like we just did with the wave effect, we want to go in between those, bump it down to, it doesn't have to go all the way down, but maybe like 25 will do. And then go to 6 and go back to 100. So again, if I come here and give this a quick render, you can see it like glows the edges, and it's just another subtle effect that looks cool, and like it's noticeable, but it doesn't stand out too much. It's more subtle, but it still looks really nice, especially with that purple, I think. And then we have a really nice little logo effect using the twister. And I'm gonna go ahead and just add that to the logo. And we can put this at the same time, so maybe at 0 we have completion 0, hit the stopwatch halfway, actually no, we can go all the way, 6, and put it at 100. Now it'll look a little funky because it goes all the way towards the middle, and to fix that we just want to go ahead and move the center point to the middle of our logo. So if you click the center little bullseye and move that, you can see we just get a nice little flipped logo, and you could add that to the text as well. And then you could of course combine all 3 of these into one. I just thought it looked a little too cramped, so I separated them to make it a little easier. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Again, if this video hits 100 likes, I will give you guys this After Effects project file. Get it right now on my Patreon page. Subscribe for more tutorials. Please leave a like on the video. Follow me on Twitter at Qehzy. Check out my Instagram at That's Qehzy. I have a store full of goods and a bunch of things that I use. Be sure to check that out if you're interested. Check out my link in the description for Skillshare. Get 2 months free. I have some exclusive classes over there if you're interested in learning some other things. And it's completely free, 2 months. Check it out. But other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.